This podcast is solely for the attention of institutional, professional, qualified, or sophisticated investors and distributors.
Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the explosion of cyber attacks and the reaction of European authorities. The challenges related to cybersecurity are huge. It is estimated that worldwide there is a new ransomware attack every 11 seconds. That ransomware attacks cost 20 billion euros in 2021, and that the cost of cybercrime globally was 5.5 trillion euros in 2021. It was also very obvious in 2022 that cyber attacks were an integral part of the war between Ukraine and Russia, but also of the confrontation between China and Taiwan. In June 2017, long before Russia invaded Ukraine, Russian military intelligence used the NotPetya malware to target major Ukrainian companies. And even if the later Ukrainian companies were the real targets of the attack, a number of multinationals were also affected through their Ukrainian subsidiaries and suffered heavy losses. New York Fed researchers showed that the customers of companies directly affected by the NotPetya cyber attack lost at least 7.3 billion in total revenues, 4 times more than companies directly affected. The White House then called the NotPetya attack the costliest and most destructive cyber attack in history. Cyber attacks therefore constitute a real risk for supply chains, but also for telecommunications, with possible cyber attacks on satellites. On February 24, 2022, almost at the same time as the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the KASAT satellite, which belongs to the US company Viasat, and which connects tens of thousands of individuals, companies, and various connected objects across Europe, was the victim of a cyber attack, most likely orchestrated by Russian hackers. Tens of thousands of terminals have been rendered inoperative. Several thousand German wind turbines, controlled remotely by an internet connection, have thus been partially disconnected from their satellite connection. This illustrates a certain form of vulnerability of the global economy to cyber attacks. Against this backdrop, what is the reaction of the authorities? It turns out that things are moving a lot on the European side. In mid-September 2022, the European Commission unveiled a new directive called the Cyber Resilience Act in order to strengthen cybersecurity standards and strengthen the protection of computer software and hardware. For the Commission, the starting point is the observation that the computer hardware and software contained in connected objects of all kinds suffer from two major problems, representing significant costs for users and the society in general. The first, a low level of cybersecurity, which is reflected in widespread vulnerabilities and insufficient and inadequate security updates. Indeed, 2/3 of cyber attacks come from vulnerabilities detected, but that manufacturers have not resolved. The second, insufficient access to information by users, which prevents them from choosing products with adequate cyber protections or using them in a secure manner. The directive therefore proposes to ensure that manufacturers improve the cyber protection of the products throughout their lifetime. Once the products are sold, manufacturers must ensure for at least 5 years that the vulnerabilities of the products are dealt with effectively. The directive also proposes to create a single cyber protection compliance framework in the European Union. Finally, it proposes to increase transparency with regard to product cybersecurity rules. Manufacturers will have to actively report the vulnerabilities and incidents that have been detected. For 90% of the products considered as non-critical, such as video games, word processing or smart speakers, the assessment of the products by a third party would not be necessary. But for 10% of the products considered as critical, such as processors, operating system, or even industrial firewalls, assessment by a third party would now be necessary. The least we can say is that this directive provides strong financial incentive, since in case of non-compliance of these rules, there could be fines up to 15 million euros or 2.5% of the turnover of the previous year if this amount is more important. Obviously, this directive will now have to go through the European Council and the European Parliament, but we can feel here that the authorities are ready to speed up in terms of cybersecurity. Thank you for listening and talk to you soon.
All comments and analysis reflect CPR AM views on market conditions and its evolution. according to information known at the time. As a result of the simplified nature of the information contained in this document, that information is necessarily partial and incomplete.